Good morning. So today we will be discussing all these vocabularies are related to health. Okay. So first vocabulary is binge eating disorder, which means which simply means a serious eating disorder in which you frequently consume unusually large amount of food and feel unable to stop eating. That feel unable to stop eating and you are having a large amount of food is known as binge eating disorder. So once again, binge eating disorder means a serious eating disorder in which you frequently consume unusually large amounts of food and feel unable to stop eating. That is known as binge eating disorder. Next word is cast iron stomach. So next word is cast iron stomach. Okay, second word, cast iron stomach. If you can eat all sorts of food and drink what you like without any indigestion, discomfort or bad effects, it is said that you have a cast iron stomach. So you are having all sorts of food and drinks whatever you like and without any indigestion. There is no problem for you. There are no problem for you like indigestion, discomfort or bad effects. Then it is said that you are having a cast iron stomach. My husband has such a cast iron stomach that he can eat a ghost pepper and feel perfectly fine afterward. Okay, my husband has such a cast iron stomach. My husband has such a cast iron stomach that he can eat a ghost pepper and feel perfectly fine afterward. Next sentence is, you must have a cast iron stomach if you are eating pickles with peanut butter. You must have a cast iron stomach if you are eating pickles with peanut butter. Next vocabulary is as fit as a fiddle. So which means a person who is as fit as a fiddle means is an excellent state of health or physical condition. So it's which simply means in good health. That is known as, if you are in good health, that is known as fit as a fiddle. Yes, I did have a surgery a few months ago, but I am as fit as fiddle now. So the sentence is, yes, I did have a surgery a few months ago, but I am as fit as a fiddle now. Next sentence is, I just saw Eric recently and he is as fit as a fiddle. My grandma has been rowing her whole life. She turns 87 this year and she is still fit as a fiddle. So the next phrasal verb is, idiom is hale and hearty. Someone, especially an old person who is hale and hearty, which means is in excellent health. So if an old person is in excellent health, is known as hale and hearty. Okay. So it is true that she was in hospital a few weeks ago, but she has hale and hearty now. Once again, it is true that she was in hospital a few weeks ago, but she is hale and hearty now, which means in an excellent condition. Okay, step in for someone, which means Tom was sick, so Jack had to step in for him. So sentence is Tom was sick, but Jack had to step in for him. So what do you mean by step in? If you step in, you get involved in a difficult situation. In a difficult situation because you think you can or should help with it. So taking yourself a decision that getting into a difficult situation because you think you can or should help with it. So these are some sentence related which is from newspaper. If no agreement was reached, the army would step in. Okay, the army would step in. The army will take responsibility, will step in. There are circumstances in which the state must step in to protect children. Okay, once again, if no, this could be related to your conclusion essays. Okay, you can use the same sentence. If no agreement was reached, the army would step in. There are circumstances in which the state must step in to protect children. Step in to protect children. Now trip means fall. Okay. Trip means an occasion when you knock your foot against something and fall. Okay. So that is the simple meaning. You knock your foot against something and fall. Or you can say you lose your control and then you fell down. So the sentence is she broke her ankle when she had a nasty trip on the stairs. Trip on the stairs. Okay. Okay. She broke her ankle when she had a nasty trip on the stairs. Next sentence is she tripped and fell. She tripped and fell. Next sentence, someone will trip over that cable. Tripped and fell. So this is an instruction. Trip. Someone will trip over that cable. Okay. So pay attention to trip over that cable. Catch up with somebody. To finally start to cause problems for somebody after they have managed to avoid this for some time, which means simply may cause to finally start cause problem, that is known as catch up with somebody. So in other words, if something bad that if something bad that you have done or that has been happening to you catches up with you, which basically means causing problem. Okay, his lies will catch up with him one day, will cause problem to him. Okay, his lies will catch up with him one day. She was terrified that one day her past problems would catch up with her. She was terrified that one day her past problems would catch up with her. Okay. She was terrified that one day her past problems would catch up with her. Show something up to become visible. Show something up means to become visible. Okay, so the example sentence is a broken bone showed up on the x-ray. A broken bone showed up on the x-ray. The harsh light showed up the lines on her face. Showed up. Okay, so here a broken bone showed upon, then showed upon the lines on her face. See. So on the lines of her. So these are some of the sentences which I had taken from the newspaper. You may have some strange disease that may not show up. So show up. You may have some strange disease that may not show up for 10 to 15 years. The orange tip the orange tip shows up well against most background. Shows up. Okay, the orange tip shows up. A telescope so powerful that it can show up galaxies billions of light years away. So basically it's a show up. That is a sentence. There have been 400 escapes this year, showing up the lack of security. So it's evident, or you can say showing up the lack of security. Okay, there have been 400 escapes this year, showing up the lack of security. Come about to happen. Okay, come about to happen. Can you tell me how the accident came about? Can you tell me how the accident came about? How it happened? Okay. Come about. Again, the sentences for come about, which means happen. How did the problems come about in the first place? How did the problem come about in the first place? So more sentences are, how did such a confused situation come about? In your listening also, if they are using come about, you should be able to identify what is that, which means happen. She was late again, but I am not sure how it came about this time. Next vocabulary is quack. Okay, quack means a person who dishonestly dishonestly claims to have medical knowledge or skill. That is known as quack. So quack doctors. I have got a checkup with the quack next week. Okay, a person, it's a doctor. Have you seen a quack about that cough? So these are some of the sentences. So this is a medical term. So just have a look by yourself. Next vocabulary is take a heavy toll. Take a heavy toll. Okay. Take a heavy toll on somebody or something. Take its toll. Okay. Take a heavy toll or take its toll. The long battle with the government took a heavy toll. The aim was to reduce the heavy toll of shipwrecks caused by the crude navigational method of debt reckoning. So these are newspaper sentences, some sentences from Sunday Times. So each newspaper, okay. So the aim was to reduce the heavy toll of shipwrecks caused by the crude navigational methods of debt reckoning. Next sentence is, the 9 months heaters took a heavy toll on the country with insurgents exploiting the lack of leadership. See why we don't understand this vocabulary, which sentence which is written in the newspaper, is because we don't know several vocabularies, and so that's the basic reason why it is making us difficult to understand what is written on the vocabulary in the newspaper. And for survivors, cancer treatments take a heavy toll and can have long-term health effect. And for survivors, you can check the meaning if you don't know. And for survivors, cancer treatments take a heavy toll and can have long-term health effects. To have a bad effect on somebody or something. Okay, illness had taken a heavy toll on her. So heavy toll, which basically means to have a bad effect on something. Heavy toll, bad effect. That is meaning of heavy toll. Okay. So all this sentence they were talking about the bad effects. And for survivors, cancer treatment take a bad effect and can have long-term health effects. The 9 months took a heavy toll, took a bad effect on the country. Okay, so that is the meaning of the heavy toll. Now nose job means which is an informal language, which is a rhinoplasty or cosmetic surgery on a person's nose. That is nose job. And then comes the boob job, again the same informal language. Nip and tuck. Okay, a medical operation in which skin is removed or made tighter to make somebody look younger or more attractive. That is known as nip and tuck. So one of that surgery is facelift. Then holistic approach. So what do you mean by holistic approach? Treating the whole person rather than just the symptom. That is known as the holistic approach. Holistic. So this is a common academic word vocabulary. My doctor took a holistic approach to disease. Next sentence is ecological problem usually requires holistic solution. So like related to adjectives, right? You can use a holistic approach or holistic solution. So you can note down this vocabulary if you want. Holistic approach or holistic solution, you need this in essays. Acupuncture, acupressure. So acupuncture means thin needle. They are using thin needle. Acupressure means they are pressurizing. Okay, which pressure is applied to particular parts of the body, that is known as acupressure. Now procedure, wrinkle, roll. So fat rolls means a layer of fat, that is, there are different meanings for rolls. Fat roll means a layer of fat that is saggy and heavy. Saggy, loose and heavy. So it droops down. It droops down means it's come bent like this. It droops down. Dude, she has to lose that fat rolls. She has to lose that those fat rolls. Spring to mind. To come quickly into your mind is known as spring to mind. Okay. Contract a disease. So what do you mean by contract a disease? If you contract a disease, you catch it. But only use this if something is serious. Okay. Whenever an illness is serious, you can say if instead of catching it, you can contract a disease. You catch a cold. So the difference is you catch a cold but contract malaria. Malaria is more serious. You contract a disease. So these are the sentences from the newspaper. 40% of people who contract the disease do not survive. Okay, 40% of people who contract the disease malaria or corona disease do not survive. Yet many comforted themselves with the idea that they weren't likely to contract the disease themselves. Many comforted themselves with the idea that they weren't likely to contract the disease themselves. Okay. Checks are being made on deer, but if they contract the disease, they fall sick quickly and there have been no reported cases. Next sentence is they can't afford to contract a disease that could keep them out of their training program for a few months. They can't afford to contract a disease that they could keep them out of their training program for a few months. So how many sentences? So try to learn this vocabulary. Okay. Now medical workers who do not wear appropriate protective clothing may also contract the disease. Next vocabulary is related to blood donation. Okay. Television channel appeal for people. Television channels appeal for people to donate blood, or give blood to help the wounded. Donate blood or give blood to the wounded. Yesterday, more than 60 people queued from 6:30 a.m. to donate blood or to give blood. Okay, she is expected to, next sentence is vocabulary is, to make a full recovery. She is expected to make a full recovery. He made a quick recovery and was able to play again the following weekend. Okay, he made a quick recovery and was able to play again the following weekend. So these are related to good recovery. Next vocabulary is nurse someone or something back to health. Nurse someone or something back to health. Okay. So this is an idiom which means to give close medical care and attention to someone or an animal in an attempt to return them or it to full health. Okay, that is known as nurse someone or something back to health. The government nursed the foreign spy back to health. The government nursed the foreign spy back to health so that he will be able to survive their torture techniques to extract information from him. Okay, the government nursed the foreign spy back to health so that he will be able to survive their torture techniques to extract information from him. In order to extract information. So sentences from next vocabulary is this thing from newspaper, performing operation. He had been based in the field hospital performing operation on those who wounded by shelling or aerial bombardment. Okay, he has been based in the field hospital performing operation on those who wounded by shelling or aerial bombardment. Shelling related to war, shelling, aerial bombardment, wounded, performing operation, field hospital. In all, she performed about 10,000 operations. So vocabulary is in all. He had to perform an emergency operation in secret. He had to perform an emergency operation in secret. Now this is as a sentence related to nurse back. Did you forget what we learned? Nurse back. Okay. The poor stray was nearly starved to death when we found her in the gutter. So we took her in and nursed her back to health until she was back to a healthy weight. Okay. The poor stray was nearly starved to death. So the sentence is, you can say, nearly starved to death when we found her in the gutter. So we took her in and nursed her back to health until she was back to a healthy weight. Now taken effect. Okay. If you taken effect, if you read the sentence, you will be getting an idea. What do you mean by taken effect? Which means work, begin. Okay. Work, begin, come into force. Okay. That is the meaning of taken effect. The second injection should only have been given once the first drug had taken effect, which means once it had started working. Okay, the second injection should have only been given once the first drug had taken effect. International sanctions were beginning to take effect. International sanctions were Beginning to take effect means started. Okay, beginning to come into force, taken effect, come into force. The international sanctions were beginning to take effect. Now next word is on the mend. On the mend means becoming healthy after an illness is known as on the mend. She is still in the hospital, but she is definitely on the mend. She is still in the hospital, but she is definitely on the mend. So if a relationship or a situation, so another meaning is if a relationship or situation is on the mend after a difficult or unsuccessful period. So and then the meaning is it's improving, that they are overcoming that difficult situation. More evidence that economy was on the mend was needed. More evidence. Okay, more evidence that the economy was on the mend was needed. Next vocabulary is hang by a thread. Okay, hang by a thread, which means even a slight change can decide what will happen, and that a bad result such as death or failure. So hang by a thread. Okay, even a slight change can decide what will happen, and that a bad result such as death, failure. So the sentence is, the mayor's political future has been hanging by a thread since the fraud scandal. The mayor's political future has been hanging by a thread since the fraud scandal. Fraud scandal. Okay. It just shows how technology is hanging by a thread. So not so satisfied. Okay. So if you want to talk against technology, you can say the technology is just hanging by a thread. Everyone felt that their job was hanging by a thread. So keep all this vocabulary for each topic, separate by yourself. Okay. Everyone felt that their job, this is related to job. Everyone felt that their job was hanging by a thread. Yet incredibly, his job is hanging by a thread. Take its toll. So which means to cause harm or suffering. That is, we already discussed that. The constant stress takes its toll on emergency room workers. The constant have its harmful effects. Okay. The constant stress takes its toll on emergency room workers. Next sentence is, winter takes its toll on your health. Winter takes its toll on your health. Higher fuel prices took their toll. Higher fuel price effect essays. Higher prices took their tolls. A high exchange rate took a heavy toll on industry. So that's the end related to health. So we had discussed several things, several vocabulary. I hope this video will be definitely useful for everyone. So in case it's like if you're feeling there are times when we will be feeling upset, you yourself is not understanding why you are upset, hurted, or got angry. You express some negative emotions and you didn't know what exactly happened, right? So there are some situations could be there like that. It's only because you analyze by yourself, okay, whether you faced any trauma related to that. Okay, so certain words pricks you so badly, right? What could be the reason? It could be because you are like you had a trauma. So okay, so that trauma has the trauma which you had in your life, the past experience which harmed you so badly, you have to elevate that, you have to treat that, you have to reduce those pain. how you can do? So you can actually give that to Jesus hands and then ask Jesus, I have that trauma, I understand, I forgive that person, and I want that wound to be healed completely. If that wound still there, if someone hurted you so severely, and if that wound is there, actually you will be thinking that I didn't do any wrong, why I have to forgive them? only because Only because you need a recovery. Okay, that's the reason. So for your future growth, and for you have to move on from that relationship, that broken, frustrated, that haunted relationship, only you forgive that person and help, ask Jesus for the help. So slowly, it's not about killing that person, it's about you recovering. You yourself have to recover from the incident, otherwise it is hindering your progression. If you want to study for an examination, and you might be watching for that purpose. So if that same incident haunt you so badly, won't keep on wounding you, you won't be able to study. That's the reason. Okay, so that's the end. Thank you.